everyone. This is Katie Butterfield with the City of Jenks, and this is Ask Jenks, our social media series featuring you, citizen questions, and also special guest appearances, which we have one this week. So I'd like to introduce Barry Parsons. He's our Director of Public Works. Welcome, Barry.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's do a little icebreaker to start with.
Sure.
How long have you been with the City of Jenks? Let's start with that.
2 days.
Oh,
I mean,
2 days.
No,
okay.
I was here since February 7th, 22.
Okay, so you've been here about almost 3 years.
Almost.
Okay, great. And so before that, where were you?
Kansas.
Okay, what were you doing there?
I was the city administrator.
Okay, and I know you're a veteran. Can you tell us just a little bit about your background in the military?
Joined the Air Force in January 2nd, 1979. I spent a little over 20 years. I'm a retired Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
I did mostly public works all throughout my career. It was civil engineering. And in about the last 5 years or so, I became a first sergeant, went to the academy, and ended up retiring as a first sergeant from the Air Force. So.
Okay, well, thank you for your service, and we appreciate you for being here. It's pretty important to us, and Jenks are our veterans and our military. We value them very much here, as you know, with all your projects that you always do. We'll talk maybe a little bit about that, but okay, we kind of wanted to dive in on this Ask Jenks because we're in the middle of the winter season, cold temperature, snow, ice every once in a while, and people write in and they ask, how do we prevent icy roads? What are we doing to monitor them? How does this work? Do we clear the roads by a certain order? All these things. So let's just start with Public Works has specific responsibilities when it comes to winter weather in Jenks, correct? So maybe you could start with, what are you guys doing? If you know ice or snow or something is coming, what is your process? How do you start that?
Well, we'll monitor it really close because sometimes it's near misses and sometimes the weather forecasters don't get it right. And so we don't want to be called either way. So err on caution. What we do is we have 2 shifts. They're 12-hour shifts, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And regardless of whether we get any precip or not, we're prepared for it. So what we do probably the day before it's supposed to hit, we'll get all the vehicles and all the plows, everything loaded with product, with sand, and they're ready to go.
Okay.
So all we got to do is when the shift comes in, they clock in and they hit the ground running.
Okay. And so they're kind of driving the main arterial streets and bridges?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We actually have a snow plan, a city snow plan that we go by. I think you're familiar with that. You looked at it. We do hit that. Each crew leader has a snow plan they go by first. We hit the arterial streets, like the streets, B Street where the schools are. We hit all of that. Of course, we don't do any residential. It's all main roadways.
Right. And so for the public to know, on our website, we actually have our snow and ice policy and our winter weather policy that Public Works helped create. And so they have Route 1 priority routes, Route 2 priority routes. It's color coded. And so it's pretty easy if, you're wondering what, is if I need to get to work and I need to take Elm, is that going to be cleared?
Right.
Well, that's obviously a priority 1 street,
Exactly.
but then you can kind of go and look online. So jenks.com, make sure to check that out.
Yep.
So, okay, so we talked a little bit about how you guys are monitoring. And I know Public Works and Jenks, some people do not know this, but you guys, we're not this massive department where you have a Parks and Rec department and you have, a different department that just goes and does water lines. I mean, you do everything here.
We
You
do
vehicle maintenance, you do mowing, you do everything you could think of that makes the city run. Public Works does, and which I am always so impressed with that. When we are talking about winter weather, we know, unfortunately, water breaks, water pipe breaks, things like that happen in the winter weather. You guys deal with that a lot. And first of all, just so the public knows, when you're driving by and a water break is happening, that's our Public Works out there in freezing temperatures in a ditch with water. I can't even tell you how thankful every citizen in Jenks should be for our Public Works department. But when we're talking about water breaks, sometimes we see 3 or 4 homes out of water, and then sometimes we see a whole neighborhood without water. Can you explain why sometimes it's 2 or 3 homes that get affected, and then sometimes it's 40 homes that get affected?
It all depends on the valves.
Okay.
The valving. We may take the opportunity on 4 houses, find valves that's close enough to those 4 houses to isolate the 4. Many times, though, we have to shut off even half or the whole neighborhood just to get the water break fixed. That's just the facts of life. However, we are working on a program. It's a valve program for the city. It's
Okay.
going to be a 3 to 5 year program
Okay.
to correct some of the older valves, to replace them, and to exercise the valve that's currently underground to actually reduce the outages to just 4 or 5 houses
Okay.
rather than a subdivision.
Okay, so it sounds like this program is going to be something that we're going to see more and more. If a water break happens or water thing, it's a very small amount of people that will
is
be
correct.
affected each time.
That
Oh,
is
that's
correct.
great. Okay, that's wonderful to hear.
You know, it's a bad feeling when you go out and you've got a small break. Okay, man, we can fix this in an hour. Well, it takes longer to find the valves to shut off, to fix the break, than it does make the repair. Our goal is to reverse that.
Okay. And so that sounds like a big win for Jenks citizens and a big win for you.
Right.
So you're not getting yelled at while you're trying to make these repairs. But
Well, a lot of this is the support from management, from Mr. Shroud and Mr. Carr. I mean, we've discussed this considerably since I've been here, and finally, we've actually this year was able to implement it. We purchased the equipment to make that happen, and so now we've got a crew dedicated just to valves.
wow, that's very impressive.
Yep.
Okay, well, we'll definitely follow up on that and
Yep.
in a little, and maybe another Ask Jenks. We'll see.
Yeah, see what progress we're making.
Yeah,
So.
to be continued. So we've kind of talked about water breaks, we've talked about how you monitor roads. Can you also talk about how you work with Jenks Police on, overnight? We get a lot of, I get a lot of emails where I wake up in the morning and you guys have been up all night, back and forth. Hey, I've driven this. It's slippery. Hey, there's an accident here. How do you coordinate with Jenks PD during these events?
With the Jenks Police, it's constant communication. I get calls from Chief Jackson, Melissa, even some of the officers and stuff, and it's almost like symbiotic. We need each other, and the police and fire are our eyes and ears. We can't see everything, so the police will report it to us, and then we can go respond to it. They're out on the road 24/7. The police are, so they have really helped us out since I've been here, and it's going to continue. I mean, you can't ask for a better relationship between the police and public works.
Yeah, and we're grateful for that.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of leads into our next step, or our next question is, people also are not aware that Jenks Public Works are considered first responders.
Yes.
I think that that's a shift in public works across the country that we're trying to get that message out, that you all are also first responders, because the police can definitely come to an accident, but if there's a big tree limb over the road from an emergency weather event, who has to clear that? Well, Public Works has to get that out for them to even get there. So can you just talk a little bit about that shift, how that came to be, and how we are trying to get the public to be aware that you're a first responder?
Well, over the years, I mean, and it's nothing negative to any one department or anything, but Public Works has always been at the bottom. We're kind of the janitors of the city, and that's not true. And I think that especially internal departments in all the cities are starting to realize that, wow, we need Public Works. We do a lot. We do roads, streets, water lines, sewer lines. I mean, we make the residents comfortable, but we make them safe as well.
Right.
But we can't do it without the support from fire and police.
Right.
So I think over the years, and I think it's some of our wise leaders from all the departments has gotten together and said, you know what, we need each other. And I could see it.
Yeah.
I mean, we work so well together.
Right.
So,
It's like a great trifecta.
Yeah,
Right.
it
You,
is.
Jenks Police, Jenks Fire.
it is.
Yeah.
It's really good. So,
And we've seen that shift in staff as well, where we have this great public works department, we have this great police department, a great fire department, and now things are really working well when there's emergency situations, weather. It's kind of almost become seamless, and so that's a huge accolades to public works in the way of police and fire have been doing it a long time.
I think it's a culture too.
Yes.
It's a culture shift.
Yeah.
And I commend the city leadership, Christopher and Mr. Carr, in engineering to actually. I mean, they support us 100%. And I can tell you, I've been around several municipalities, and that doesn't happen. But here it happens. So we get it's very, very nice to have 100% support.
Yeah.
And it's the leadership too. I mean, you've got fantastic leadership in fire and police here. Some municipalities waning a little bit, but here it's 100%. They understand. They know what it takes. They know what it takes for us to get out there and get something done.
Yeah, that is so important. Well, that's exciting. And I think that what I want citizens to know is that we'll be pushing that messaging more and more, is that, our public works department are not only do they keep our city running. I mean, I truly believe that. Like, it gets down to where if your toilet flushes, thank you, Public Works. If your water turns on, thank you, Public Works. So, and as you drive into Jenks, I think people don't understand and this is city management, but also it's you, Barry. When you drive into Jenks, you really have told me this, that you want people to feel like they are driving into another place.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
we want to be transformed. And
Yes.
so when you come into Jenks, the landscaping, the building, how the buildings are taken care of, things like that, that's Public Works. And so, we want our citizens to know that that is a mission of you guys. Not only are you doing our water and our sewers and, helping with trees and things like that, but you are making sure that Jenks is a place of beauty, and it's a place where people can come and feel like they're in a different place.
It is.
Yeah. And so thank you.
Yep.
We appreciate you. And thank you for being here today. And we will definitely have a follow-up conversation on the valve the valve talk and things like that. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
All I want to do is just thank the city leadership, the council, the mayor, for all the support they give Public Works. I mean, we've got a good staff down there, a good team. And the team actually respects city leadership. They're appreciative of city leadership and council. And every time that the city leadership asks me to pass it on, I'm making sure I pass it on to them. And they're very, very appreciative.
Okay. You have a good crew down there, and we're appreciative of you. So thank you for being here today. And I hope every Jenks citizen at some point gets a chance to say thank you to your crews, because we appreciate you. If anyone has a question for our council, for staff members, or something that in general that you have about Jenks, please visit jenks.com. There's a graphic on the homepage that will take you right to the questionnaire, or you can always call, you can always email us. And until next time, this is Ask Jenks.